there are really many differences between the UK work style and the Chinese work style. That's impressed me a lot. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
That's why I think that's why communication skills matter so much, because especially in London, people do come from very different backgrounds. You know, it is really multicultural. So, and especially like we are just starting to understand. I'm training to be an intimacy coordinator because I deeply care about this, that we're just starting to understand humanly how traumatized we've been. You know, mostly all of us have had issues in childhood, mainly with parents, mainly with heritage, mainly something that has to do with your roots. A lot of us have massive emotional traumas, some of us physical traumas, some of us sexual traumas. So when you communicate with people one way, you don't necessarily understand where they are coming from, what they have in their background, the baggages that they are carrying, the stuff that they haven't dealt with. And you might not mean to hurt someone. You might not mean to be rude to someone, or you know, you don't even want to be inconsiderate. You're just not even thinking about it, that this can be hurtful for someone. And that happens a lot still, in front of camera, behind camera. A lot of people are being pushed. A lot of people are saying yes to things that they don't want to say yes to because they don't want to lose a job. You know, they don't want to lose respect. They don't want to be bitchy. They don't want to be needy. But we need to take care of ourselves and take care of each other first. And then second, we are professionals and we're making a film here.
Oh,
I really think so.
That's a I don't know how to say my feeling. Because it's I rarely listen to someone say this kind of thing in China. They more care about how the project go on. They care less about their stuff. Yeah, that's great. Let me feeling that if working in UK, it's less pressure, less stress.
Probably, yes, probably. I mean, I don't think that it's only the film industry. I think that that's true for a lot of industries in China. China does have that culture. I've only visited for like 2 weeks, but they do have that culture where there's really high pressure all the time. It's really tiring.
Yeah. Can I ask a really last question?
Oh, of course you can. I've got the time.
Normally, how long for our shooting day, how long people will work on filming when filming? It's normal to work overtime, or
it's different by sectors. So in commercials, it's like a 10+1 hour day usually. And after that, people do get overtime. And it's kind of an unwritten rule that unless you have a super easy day with like 2 actors in a studio and it's a conversation or a pack shot, if it's a 1-day commercial, you will go into overtime. Because the production company is just trying to cram in as much into 1 day as possible so that they don't have to hire the crew and the kit and the locations and everything twice for 2 days. It's just like, all right, we're going to pay 3 hours of overtime. And that's how you end up with sometimes 14, 16-hour days on commercials. So yeah, that's the unwritten rule.
That's the ideal life, really. The longest time I filming 1 day is 20 hours. Continually no rest. 20 hours, that's crazy. That's crazy in China to filming in this way.
Yeah. It's really strange for me still. I mean, that's exactly what the strike was about. And a part of me really wishes that it would have gone through, because do you know about that? That in last November, the entire North American film industry was about to go on a strike. Because they said, all the union, like 90-something% of the union members said that we are not going to tolerate the work conditions that are just not even frowned upon in the industry. Like, we made a culture of bragging about how tired we are. You know, it's like, oh, you've only slept 2 hours. Honey, I haven't slept in a day. It's like, you shouldn't be proud of that.
Yes.
You really shouldn't be. And yeah, so they nearly went on a strike. And instead of disrupting bad behavior, they kind of settled with an agreement that is not as good as it could have gotten, but it's better than it was. Mm-hmm. And then we've kind of, it's like, there used to be a tiger ready to jump, and we just kind of petted it, and now it's okay. So now it's not such a dangerous beast anymore, but it hasn't achieved what it could have. You know, it can be a mighty animal. We can have such an incredibly humane, lovely, vitally entertaining, like you go on set and you are loving your life and your job and the people that you're working with. We could have that all across the board. Yeah. Because, you know, people who are radiating towards the entertainment industry, they are usually very genuinely creative people. Just some of us have personal issues that they haven't dealt with, and they express it in very wrong ways. And they become inconsiderate with each other and abusive with each other. And, you know, it's not even, I genuinely think that it's not even chasing the money, because money is very unequally distributed within this industry. So there are still very, very few people who are actually really making big money in filmmaking. And there are a lot of people who are making a good living, but it's, you know, when you're like, oh, it's all like pressure is about chasing the money. You know, you just want to get it done. No, not really about money, because you're not making that much money, to be honest. It's more about
critique.
I think when something is normalized, you don't understand just how fucked up it is. It's the same thing that happened with Harvey Weinstein. Everyone knew who he was, what he was doing, and everybody kept their mouths shut about it, because nobody wanted to be the first one to speak up. Nobody wanted to be the odd one out. It's like, if we're collectively pretending that the emperor is wearing clothes and nobody is saying that he's naked, I don't know if you know, it's a fairy tale. The emperor's clothes. It's like the emperor goes out in front of a crowd and he's naked. And all of his court is telling him that you're wearing the most beautiful clothes, the most precious fabric and everything. And they all faff around him like, oh, this looks amazing. Like, that's what we're doing with each other right now. It's like, there's no problem in the film industry, no issues. Like, everything is working fine. We're making billion-dollar projects. And when you go work on those billion-dollar projects, and when you go work for companies who became famous out of a cartoon mouse, don't ever work for that company. Everyone that I worked for or with from that house, from that studio, they are horrible human beings. Like, they are famously, it's one of those studios, one of those companies that is famously awful to work for. Might have changed, you know, it might not be true across the board. There are lovely people everywhere, but when a whole studio has that reputation, that it's just an awful place to work at.
Oh.
And everyone knows about it and nobody says anything. It's like, we all know the unfairness. We all know the horrible working hours, the treatment, the harassment, just everything. And slowly, we're becoming more and more honest about it. Slowly, we are realizing that, oh, this is fucked up. It's not normal. Just because nobody says anything, it's not normal.
Well,